this house. Oh my gosh. Look at that, dude. See, this is the vibe, bro. Like, you got like check this out. It's got a guest house. I wonder if that's the same property. Maybe not. Downtown, and I'm looking at the, what do you call that?
Clock Tower?
No, yeah, but that's like the city.
Town Center?
No, City Hall. City Hall.
It's a red light. You gotta go.
Oh, like that. All right, guys, so today's video is all about, can I really start investing, buying real estate, buying businesses with no money? I got a DM this morning from Ryan Bednarek. He says, hey man, I came across your page and I'm very interested in learning more. Okay, well, we have 2,000 videos on YouTube, so thank you for coming. Before beginning, I'm curious on a few things, which is that I have $500 in my bank account. How much money do I need for something like this to work? Can I start with no money to my name? The answer is, Ryan, yes. Here we are in Kalispell, Montana. Eric and I are gonna go drive and look at a couple of properties before I end my 1 month extravaganza on the road. I also used to think that you needed to use credit, down payments, and your own money to get started investing in real estate. And I can tell you 100% that when I first heard that that was a possibility, I thought it was a scam. I thought it was BS. I thought it was a misnomer. I thought maybe they were like telling me half the truth, but like not telling me the full truth. So in today's video, I'm going to tell you the full truth. I have done and documented on this YouTube channel hundreds of deals that I have used none, zero, not even $1 of my own money. I'd say 90+% of the properties that we own in our portfolio, we did not use credit. In fact, we didn't pull anybody's credit. It's not like I'm going to my friend down the street and saying, hey, I don't have credit, will you help me? Literally zero credit was pulled. No banks were used on 90+% of the stuff that I bought. Can you tell I've been talking till 1 o'clock in the morning?
Yeah.
Wow. I sound like trash. There are some times where you have to use your credit. There are some times where you have to use your own capital. 90+% of the time, I haven't done that. The house I'm driving to right now is a house that's currently on the market. I could give you the address, but my team's gonna delete it anyway. 4,500 square feet on 10 acres. It's got like a little barn and all sorts of cool things. So this house is on the market, $3.3 million. I can go to that seller and ask for seller finance, which means I'm gonna give them a small down payment, and then the seller becomes my bank. We talk about this on the channel all the time. Type in Pace Morby, what is seller finance? Or maybe my team can even suggest a video down below. I can go to the seller and say, I want to buy this property on seller finance. But sometimes you'll buy a house or want to buy a house where you go, that is 100% the house I want. And if the seller's not open to seller finance and you absolutely have to have that house and you can't overcome the seller finance or subject to thing, then you would have to use your own credit and your own cash, your own credentials, and you would have to get qualified at a bank, and you would have to save up for a down payment, all of those things. Let's say we take this house on the corner right here, Eric, just for B-roll purposes. You got this house right here versus the house right here on the left. If both of them are gonna cash flow $500, one of them, the seller's not open to creative finance and I have to go get a bank loan, and the other one, the seller is open to seller finance and I don't need a bank loan and I can bring any money to the table, even if it's not my money, then I'm gonna choose the one on the left. What do I care? If it's a cash flowing property, what do I care if it's a 3-bed, 2-bath on a corner or a 3-bed, 2-bath in a cul-de-sac? I don't care. As long as I can acquire the real estate with no money down, no credentials, no cash of my own, then the answer is yes, I'm gonna go for that. This is the problem. People that do on-market deals are lazy. You're lazy. What you're doing is you're just going, well, I don't know what to look at. So you go on Zillow, you go on other websites that have like Redfin, Realtor.com, other websites like that, and you look for listed properties and you go, well, how can I buy that? They're trying to sell it for 3.3 million. Well, you have a couple of choices. Either A, you call the agent and you say, hey, I'd be open to seller finance. Done this hundreds of times on the channel. Go and look for those videos. Or B, you go and call a seller that wasn't planning on selling and you call the seller directly. Foreclosures, bankruptcy, divorce, businesses failing, tax liens, all sorts of things that you can do to find sellers that have high motivation. If this seller I see at Wild Horse Pass, whatever it's called, says, no, I'm not interested in seller finance, but my wife says, Pace, we have to have this ranch. This is the one, everything fits it. Well, guess what? I'm gonna save up a down payment. I'm gonna go to my bank. I'm gonna get approved. I'm going to go through the long, drawn-out, horrible process of getting a 7% interest rate loan as of right now in this market, and I'm going to go the traditional route. But that is rarely ever the case in real estate investing for people like myself that understand creative finance. I'm not seeking out the perfect house. I'm seeking out the perfect terms and a seller who is willing to give me those terms. That's the big difference. The people that are going on Zillow or working with a real estate agent and doing on-market properties, you're lazy. Anybody can pick an apple that's hanging from the bottom of the tree. And so when you say, well, can I truly get a big, juicy apple that's amazing and like hard to believe this apple even exists on the tree? Well, yeah, sometimes you just got to do a little bit of work and reach your hand up inside there and find apples that have been protected by the sun because they're kind of up inside that tree. Most people are just looking at the trees, the apples at the bottom, and just pulling the apples down and going, oh yeah, this is fine. Meanwhile, other people like myself and other Subto students are reaching up inside the tree, getting the best possible apples because we're doing a little bit of work, offering terms. Hey, will you let me buy your property, small amount of money down with no credit check, and you become the bank. Seller says no, guess what? I move on to the next one. Not every seller is going to be open to it. Just like right now, we've passed, I don't know, probably 4,000, 5,000 houses in the last 10 minutes. The majority of them are not for sale at all. People are like, oh, well, how do I find them? How do you find anything? Start looking for them. Drive around. That's what we're doing right now. We've got a flight in 3 hours, and I'm driving around looking at stuff for the last 3 hours of my trip. There's a couple of RV parks that we bought this week. The seller was on market, which means the seller has already said, I want to sell my property. I'm going to hire a real estate agent. We're going to put this on the market. The property is a little bit overpriced, which is very common. No matter what the market is, sellers are always pushing the envelope on what they want to sell for. So these two RV parks, which are about 2 miles away from each other, the seller says, man, I don't want to manage these anymore. It's more work than I originally anticipated. I'm going to put these on the market and try and sell for $6 million. Well, guess what? Nobody offered $6 million. It sat for 6, 7, 9 months. Then we offered terms. We called the agent. We said, hey, would your seller be open to seller finance? The agent says, no, my seller's not open to that. Well, guess what? We followed up. We followed up. We followed up. We followed up. This is what I mean, reaching up inside the tree, doing the follow-up. The seller actually got into contract with another buyer at $6 million on a cash transaction, and that buyer canceled last minute, giving the seller a bad taste in their mouth. And we were able to call this agent back up and go, hey, are they open to seller finance? And the agent says, you know what? I don't know. Let me call them. And he calls back and he goes, yep, they're open to seller finance. Send us over an offer. So the offer was $6 million purchase price, 7% down. So 7% at $6 million is $420,000. This ties into the title of the video. Where is that $420,000 coming from for the down payment? More importantly, is that the only amount of money I'm going to need to get the deal done? The answer is no. I'm going to need closing costs. I'm going to need some repairs and some improvement costs. So all in all, we think we're going to need $650,000. So your question of, I only have $500, can I get started? Dude, I'm buying a $6 million pair of RV parks that need $650,000 in cash, and because there's no bank involved, nobody cares where that money is coming from. So am I using my own money? No. I'm bringing on a partner that's covering that cost for me. The biggest skill that people fail to acquire is the skill of networking with private money lenders. This is why I created the Gator Tribe. This is why I created the Subto community, is that you could find filtered, vetted people that have also the same desire as you. A lot of them have a ton of money and they don't have time to look and reach up inside that tree. So if you're willing to look up inside that tree, pull down the apple and say, hey guys, I need to buy this apple. I need to check out and it's going to cost me some money. I found the apple, but I don't have the money to buy it. Who wants to partner with me on this apple? That's essentially what you're doing in zero down, no money involved, no money out of pocket type of real estate. Does money get involved in these transactions? Yes. Are there transactions where there's literally no money involved? Yes. There are transactions that I have had the seller pay the closing costs. I had tenants already in the property when I took over the property and the seller gave me seller finance, and I was no money out of pocket, 100% zero out of pocket, and I did not need to raise or bring on a partner. So those deals, yes, they exist. I've got a buddy right now, his name's Brian. He's buying a business that is doing $600 million. The seller wanted to be bought out with cash for $150 million. Brian says, wow, I don't have $150 million in cash, let alone $500 in cash. So Brian, heavily networked, knows a lot of people, goes to meetups, goes and talks to family offices where there's wealthy people, and he goes to people and says, I can buy this business that does $600 million in sales every year and has a tremendous amount of growth potential. These guys got lazy the last 5 or 6 years, and there's a lot of meat on the bone. We can go grow this business and turn into $1 billion in sales or $2 billion in sales on a yearly basis, but I need $150 million. And so he went to 5 of his friends. I know this sounds crazy, and you're like, I don't have friends with $30 million, but 5 of his friends brought $30 million each, bought that seller out, and now they own a business that's doing $600 million a year in sales, and they are now going to make $20, $30, $40 million a year in profit each from this transaction. So whether it's a little mobile home or up to a business that's doing $600 million a year in sales, the answer is yes. You can do deals with no money, nothing, zero, zilch. And what's funny is these people right here that own these big farms and are super wealthy and they're selling these things for $3, $4, $5 million, they understand this stuff. It's the people that have their brains locked of like, I don't have any money, therefore I have no resources. No, the most valuable resource on planet Earth is network. It's not your net worth, it's your network, because I can go to people and go, hey, I got a deal, I want to be 50% owner, will you bring the money if I bring the deal? And you can go and buy real estate with no money down. You can buy cars with no money down. You can buy businesses with no money down. This week, let's see, I bought 3 single family homes in Arizona, all subject to, so I just took over somebody else's debt, and I bought 2 RV parks here in Kalispell, Whitefish area that are worth about $7 million immediately. I'll bring $650,000 to the table. We have a walkthrough of this video, by the way, to show you what this RV park looks like. So it's either a private lender or a private money partner. Private money partner comes in and they get 50%, 60%, 40% of the equity, and they don't get a monthly payment. They get a portion of the cash flow. If I raise $650 and it's a private money lender, then I didn't give up any equity. And what I can use is I can use the cash flow. If I don't take any of the cash flow personally for a couple of years, I can really pay down that $650,000. After a couple of years, I own the property, no money out of pocket. My lender's out of the deal. They never got any equity. That's the route I prefer now. But when I first started, I would give away equity because I was afraid of having a monthly payment to a private money lender. I had so much fear. I was like, oh my gosh, I don't like having other people's money. It depends on your personality and your risk profile, but my risk profile at the time was 0. I had no risk tolerance. My risk tolerance now is I'll go raise $650 today, I'll go raise $1 million tomorrow, I'll go raise $5 million next week. As long as there's a good deal, I'll go and raise the money. Hopefully that's helpful. What we'll do is I'll give you a couple of videos down below. There's a property on Sterling that we did this really great, you know, that one take video we did on Sterling? Let's put that in the description down below so you guys can watch us walking through that property and breaking down the whole entire story. We also have a business we just bought. I can't disclose the business information for probably a couple of months until the dust settles. Businesses are different. We do buy businesses with no money down. I do teach that to my Subto students, how to buy business with no money down. Businesses are different. I can say I bought this house, I'm the new owner. However, when I'm buying a business, a lot of times I'm coming in, taking over half of the business with bringing nothing to the table. And when I talk about that business, then what happens is the people from YouTube go and reach out to that business and go, hey Jim, I see you're the owner of ABC business. It looks like you and Pace are now partners. And the guy's like, how do you know that? Well, he talked about it on his YouTube. I can't talk about the names of businesses, unfortunately, and that's a tough thing. I will talk about them after a couple of months after things settle, and my Subto students get to watch all of my calls with the sellers that sold me their businesses and all the negotiations that happen on Zoom after Zoom after Zoom. They get to watch my attorney and their attorney, the seller's attorney, work out the paperwork, and then they get to watch Zooms after that show how we're coming into the business and changing things up in that business. So the answer is yes, you can buy houses, land, RV parks, multifamily, mobile home parks. There is a difference. Ooh, businesses, self-storage. One of the RV parks that we got, no money out of my pocket, it's gonna cash flow $10,000, $12,000 a month, has about 40 self-storage facilities. So what I'm doing today, Eric and I are spending 3 hours this morning cruising around, meandering around. We're gonna look at self-storage that's beat up. I found like 3 or 4 of them yesterday, and I told Eric, hey, I know we're leaving tomorrow. Let's go and drive by these self-storage facilities and let's call some sellers. So that's what we're doing today. We're driving for deals. We're looking for opportunity. I'm also looking for a ranch for my family to spend summers up here. But the answer is yes. We'll give you guys some walkthroughs. We'll give you guys a couple of really great things. If you guys need help with money, I would make sure you reach out to some gators. Now, another video I'll give you is what the hell is a gator? We'll give you a video interview I've done with Danny Gish and Kevin Cho, so you guys can see those in the description down below. So you can go, what's a gator and why would I need a gator? How do I become a gator? All of those types of things will be in the description down below. So yes, the answer is yes, you can buy houses. The 2 RV parks here locally were found by one of my Subto students, Jordan. Jordan came to me and goes, hey, I found these. I'm not sure if they're a good deal or not, but would you partner with me on them? And I go, yes. He says, I don't know how to bring money to the table. I'm too new. He's literally a Subto student for 2 weeks. That's all he's been in Subto. And it takes sometimes 3, 4, or 5 a year, sometimes up to a year to really get a ton of momentum. And so he's 2 weeks in and he's got a tremendous amount of momentum, which is exciting. But he says, I found these RV parks. Can you tell me what's the proper structure? So I help out with the structure. I meet with him. The broker flies out, sits down with us. We go through everything. We inspect the properties. And Jordan says, well, how can I get paid and have equity in the deal up front with no money out of pocket? So here's the structure. I am raising the $420,000 down payment to the seller. I'm raising the down payment. I'm raising some repair and some improvement costs. And I'm also raising, the fourth thing I'm raising is a $65,000 finder's fee for Jordan to get paid up front for finding this deal. And he will end up retaining between 10 and 15% ownership of the deal. Listen to this. Not only did Jordan get paid 65 grand for finding the deal, he also got ownership, and none of that was money out of his pocket. None of it. He didn't use his credit. He didn't use his cash. He didn't use any credentials whatsoever. He will own 10, 15% of, he'll control $600,000 of real estate because it's $6 million. He'll end up getting probably 10%. And he got paid $65,000 to do so. So when you guys are running around saying, is it possible to do no money down deals? The answer is yes. Look at Jordan getting paid 65 grand for finding the deal and keeping equity. That is what's so beautiful about creative finance. So hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. I would suggest you guys go watch the walkthrough of the RV park. I would suggest you go watch the conversations I've had with Danny Gish and Kevin Cho about Gator and really understand the difference between Subto community and the Gator community and see if one of those is a good fit for you guys. We'll see you guys in another video.